This week on Stubborn Grit.
You read the bottom of that white disc.
You know, the building's not going to fall down.
His wife and he are building a house together. Sweat equity. It's like a marriage workshop. Build the dream. How hard can it be? How long will it take? They don't have a clue. They're doing it themselves. Ignorance is bliss. Will they survive? Will their teenagers thrive? What's wrong with you people? Are they crazy? Maybe. Dream big. Don't quit. Stubborn Grit.
We're getting close to putting the vapor barrier down once we get the footers cleaned up. We were worried the other day that the back footers were just too soft. There's no doubt that the back side of the building, the soil is softer than the front. The front is 4,000 pounds per square foot plus, easily. So we're getting down to final decisions about how best to follow through on my engineering, specifically concerning the footers. And then I got my little tool out here. Penetrometer, I think it's pronounced. It's red wasp, I hate them. I hate those things. Get out of my face.
They give you a rough idea. This is brand new. Don't want to get dirt all over that. You push this in up to this notch here. That's pretty stiff. Now you have to scrape off that top clay because it's dry and so it's hard to rot. Okay, this is all off the chart. You can see I just did these over here. Get this going in. You read the bottom of that white disc. So that's 2,500 pounds per square foot. I mean, I can't even get that in. It's like over 2,500. There's a better reading. So that's like 2,250 pounds per square foot. So I would say it's at least above 1,500. The back is softer, but I just dug out a little bit more of this clay and we're over 1,750. This is off the chart. I mean, that's like 2,250, 2,250 pounds per square foot. And our footers are 2 foot wide. So the loads here are, let's just say 40 times 30, 1,200 pounds, 2 foot footer. The post is actually on the outside. It's not centered like with a spread footing. So it's really not so much about, you know, the building's not going to fall down. Ideally, you have all your footers supporting about the same pounds per square foot, so you can avoid the differential settlement. So many variables, but I think we'll be fine. We'll find out. You see all these big holes here? I used this T-rod, just a T-shaped rod made out of steel. It's a 1/2 inch thick. The ones they use for just getting a rough idea of the soil are made out of like fiberglass. The other variable is the size of the tip, and you use a certain size tip depending on what you're trying to measure. So your softer soils, I think you go with maybe like a 3/4 inch size tip. I'm not exactly sure. I know enough to be dangerous. I just basically probed with that steel on the high side up there, which goes up this mountain, this rock outcrop. Not really a mountain, but as you go up this rise, this rock outcrop area, the soil is full of rocks. The soil out front is stiffer. I'm getting 4,000 easily if I can find a place to even get a reading. Otherwise, it's off the chart. As we come down here on this back side, where all the sediment and such washes off that rock outcrop and makes wonderful farmland, there's a lot of black soil that we removed. And the other variable is we're actually not going as deep due to the natural grade of the land in this area. I cut the high side down about 2 feet. And on this side, I was getting readings with this penetrometer here of about 750 to 1,000. And that's when I started studying the soil and it was like, oh, it's dark, it's black. I never really got very deep due to the slope. Kind of dropped off right here in this corner. Corner dropped off. And we had a reference stake that we were using. Oh, that's a long one. To show us the original grade. And I think we dug at least a foot or so, and it was still pretty soft. And I ended up going about 32 inches before I got a decent reading, 1,500 plus pounds per square foot. What I did to save concrete is I backfilled it with combination of layers of rock. We'll call it engineered fill, aka, you know, the local limestone quarry. The larger pieces on the very bottom that I've beaten to the clay. Don't know if that's a good idea or not. I know that when you have like wet footers and such, you can actually work cobbles down into it. Anyway, and then I mixed in some 3/4 as well, and then put fabric down like sandwich layers until it was, I think we're now at about 23 inches. We're gonna have a corner post here, and the loads aren't that heavy. This is the lowest wall, and this 2-foot diameter and about 23 inches thick. My understanding is, like a snowshoe in the snow, what matters most, initially at least, you know, spread that load up high with a wider footer and you can stay on top of that snow. Structurally, I think it'll be fine. I got number 4 bars in this footer at the bottom, about 3 inches up on chairs. So I used a plate compactor on the pad. We did it in like 3-inch lifts. For this down here, since I'm using a hand tamper, 1-inch lifts, 1/2-inch lifts.
This whole dream started when we binge home and garden TV shows one winter, where they finish everything in a single episode and they're still smiling. In our reality, we have little to no experience in construction. Now, as a younger man, I drove a 5-ton truck delivering materials for a bricklayer, and I learned to mix the mortar. Beyond that, I've built a few horse and goat fences, and now our chicken coop, which was our test model for our current build.
This is I think about an 8x8, but it's gonna be super cool. 16-foot ceilings, windows, mono-slope roof.
So yeah, I wouldn't call the chicken coop professional experience or anything, but every bit helps. We do have a few friends that work in commercial construction, but we're trying our best not to bother anyone with our craziness. And trying to get people lined up at the right time doesn't always work out. Plus, everyone has their own dreams they're chasing. One major thing we're trying to figure out is reasonable tolerances. It's easy to design everything down to the 16th or 32nd of an inch even on a computer, but not so much in the real world. That requires some experience and some skill. So we'll keep aiming for excellence, and worst case, we should get okay. Not perfect, but it should at least work.
So long story short, the front part of the building is very stable soil. There is some clay up there, so as long as you keep the water away, it shouldn't be a problem. The back half of the building's softer soil. Keep it well graded, and that should help that. We do have all these trees here, and they like to shoot the roots all the way over. But initially we ran power from the meter base there to the septic pump, and that ditch was like 4 foot deep, so that's a pretty good depth to take care of these tree roots, because they're usually in the top couple feet. And then I also have to dig water through here, and when I run my water ditch through here, I'm going to probably try to put some sort of a root barrier when I have the ditch open. Now, I was speaking earlier about this Kubota, so part of the reason I've got that backhoe on there was for this building. So far we've used it to dig about 650 foot of ditch for the water line from the front of the property, and another maybe 250 for the 400 amps of power. Again, this side of the property is softer soils. Got a rock truck stuck over here in this area over here. I have road fabric underneath all this rock, and that's 1.5 inches, and then I've got this sand on top.